Hey guys, this will be a video reply to the Litkid's video concerning slut shaming, and I know this is a subject that has been talked about so many times already, but and it will be, I think, talked about for a lot more. And this is my reply. Litkid, you said you wanted a discussion. Well, here are some points I would like to raise about some of the things that you have said, and you can check out the video as well. In it, Litkid talks about a certain book that I have never read. So just my 2 cents from what she says about the book. It just sounded to me that it's just a story of two high school kids, how we're going to interact with each other, rather than any kind of psychological mindfuck to make sluts look like horrible people. But if it is a fact that in this book the only reason that a person is vilified is just because she's a slut, then I guess that's kind of sucks. Not that people shouldn't be allowed to do that, not that they don't have the right to do that if they don't want to. Of course, they should have the right to do whatever they want and say whatever they want, and then you have the right to either buy the book or not. But let's get to that a bit later. Here are some of the things I have an issue with. You say towards the very start of your video, but the concept of, first you discuss what slut shaming is, and basically you say that slut shaming, and one thing about slut shaming is a lot of people will have a different idea of what slut shaming is. And at least one thing I'll give you credit for is your videos are more or less very fair. Most of the videos I see on the subject blame men for everything, completely ignore that the majority of people who use slut shaming as an direct attack to make women feel bad are women, and they just say blame men for everything. At least you don't blame men, and at least you're kind of fair with what you feel that slut shaming is. And in it you say that is the preposterous idea that someone's sexuality will have any effect on their character, and you don't say that it will completely decide their character, right? I'm not saying that. I don't feel that how many people someone has sex with will completely decide their character, but is it really unfair to say that say how many people a person has slept with will not kind of give you some idea about what kind of person that someone is? As an example, let's say we divide the country, and let's even take a certain age group. Let's say we pick out all the virgins who are 20 years old, and we do that like with all the real virgins. I'm not talking about the girls who say they are virgin. All the real virgins who are 20 years old, and then we take out all the girls who are complete whores, who slept over 100 men, the prostitutes, the complete sluts, and we take those two groups, and then we pick a random girl out of each group, and someone comes along like me and says to you, look, I'll got $1 million for you, and all you have to do is pick one of these girls who is more likely, and the first question would be, has had any alcohol, has drank any alcohol at all. Now, what would be the better bet to make? Would you bet on the girl who's a virgin to have not had any alcohol, or would you bet on a girl who is a complete another slut to not have had any alcohol? What would be the better bet to make? If you said that it's the girl who had 1,000 partners or 100 partners, that would be a stupid bet. That would be a horrible bet to make. So you can see already how the character of a person is somewhat correlated to the promiscuity. Let's say who is more likely to take illicit drugs, to have taken illicit drugs in their lifetime? Who is more likely to do so? Do you think it's the person who's a virgin, or do you think it's the person who's had over 100 sexual partners? What would be the better bet to make? How about committing a criminal offense? And again, I'm not saying that just because someone is promiscuous that they are going to be criminals. What I'm saying is that who is more likely to have had some involvement in a criminal offense? Is it the person who's a complete virgin, or the person who's had over 100 sexual partners? What about having an STD? Okay, I think you know where I'm going with this. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. That in fact, it isn't so preposterous to say that a person's promiscuity at least gives you an idea of what a person is like. But again, the real issue I have with your video is where you talk about somebody not having the right to comment on somebody else's actions. Now, we're not saying that they might be wrong, or well, you are saying that they might be wrong about the action. You're saying specifically that they shouldn't have the right to comment on it, and you kind of take it back a little bit, like, yeah, we can't stop you, but it sounds like you want to say, yeah, we can't stop you, not yet, but we want to stop you from talking. And that is way more horrible. To prevent somebody from expressing their views, however horrible they would be, is much worse in my opinion, and it's the beginning of something much worse than actually calling somebody a slut, calling somebody fat, or even calling somebody, the N-word, or being hateful towards somebody. Like I always say, the price of freedom is that you're gonna allow people that you don't necessarily agree with to have their say about things. So the price of wearing whatever you want, I'm not saying not allowing people to have a response to wearing whatever you want, but just the government allowing you to wear whatever you want means that you're gonna allow some people to wear a KKK outfit, okay, once in a while. That sucks, and then you can make fun of them, and then you can ignore them, and you can just call them idiots or whatever you want to, not buy their books. But they should, you're going to have to allow people to do that. And you're going to have to allow people to make the mistake of completely basing somebody's worth on how many people they sleep with. But the act of, as I said, the act of actually doing that to a certain point isn't completely wrong. And at least for when guys slut shame a woman, it relates to what kind of relationship we want to have with somebody. And this is purely a guy's choice on who they want to have a relationship with or not. And the majority of guys would prefer to have a relationship with a woman who has not slept with that many men. Now, that doesn't mean that the woman doesn't have any self-worth. It just means that she has no worth to a guy for a relationship, for a long-term relationship. Just like a girl who is too much of a prude will have no worth to some guy who just wants to get laid. And you can hate the fuck out of that, and you can ignore those guys and call them whatever you want to call them, but those are the facts. And if you're going to stop people from saying that kind of stuff, well, you're going to turn them into the crowd in the emperor's new clothes. And this is another story that I have read about an emperor who gets tricked into wearing nothing as he's walking down the parade, and all the people are there cheering him on because they don't want to offend him, and they'll probably get their head chopped off. And except for one little kid who hasn't been programmed into not saying what he shouldn't say, not slut shaming, not naked shaming the kid, and he kind of points it out, and then the king realizes, whoa, I'm wrong. And that's what I'm saying. But maybe these women who act like complete and utter sluts, maybe there's something slightly wrong with it. I mean, maybe it's not that great to go around sleeping with that many men. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe when somebody calls somebody fat, even if a lot of the time it is just to make them really upset and make them feel horrible, maybe being fat isn't actually such a good thing. And maybe some people that call somebody fat and just say that you're fat, or make fun of them in a certain way, maybe they're actually in some way trying to help them and give them a better life and make them work towards a certain aspect of being that's better than where they are at. Because certainly there are going to be standards that women have of the kind of men they want to date. And if I do not fulfill that area, then I would want women to tell me and say that, and then I would decide whether I want to rise up to that standard or not. And I could just say, like, fuck women, I don't, or fuck these women, maybe these women don't want that from me, I'll go to them, and that's my choice. But I just feel that you should always have the freedom to say what you think about somebody else and somebody else's actions, and say that someone doesn't have the right to say so, to shame the slut shamers, I think that's way worse than the actual slut shamers.